Moonshot AI claims Kimi K3 beats everything. Anthropic says Opus 5 is the smartest model they have ever shipped. The benchmarks are everywhere. Code Arena, Graduate Science, Agent Tasks, Web Browsing. Everyone has a chart that proves their favorite wins. I spent 2 weeks running the same prompts through both. Same documents, same code, same creative tasks, same reasoning problems. No benchmark screenshots. Just what happened when I actually used them. This is Kimi K3 versus Claude Opus 5. First test, long documents. I uploaded the same 150-page legal contract to both, find every indemnification clause, and cross-reference with a second document. Opus 5 found all the clauses. Then it wrote a summary of each clause's implications in plain English. Then it flagged a conflicting clause between the documents that I had missed. It read like a senior associate at a law firm had reviewed it. The summary was not just accurate, it was useful. I could send it to a client without editing. Kimi K3 found all the clauses too. It cross-referenced accurately, but it stopped at identification. No summary, no implications, no flagging of conflicts. When I pushed both to 400 pages, a full novel, Opus tracked a minor character and wrote a thematic analysis of how that character represented the author's view on mortality. Kimi mapped every scene and spotted stylistic shifts between Part 1 and Part 3, but missed the thematic depth entirely. Opus reads like a literature professor. Kimi reads like a search engine that happens to be very good at search. Winner depends on what you need. Opus for depth and analysis. Kimi for raw accuracy and speed. Second test, reasoning and debugging. I gave both the same Python problem. Scrape financial data from a site with JavaScript rendering and a hidden API endpoint. Opus 5 walked me through its reasoning step by step. Clear, structured, easy to follow. It explained why it discarded selenium, why it tried beautiful soup, and why it eventually suggested a hybrid approach. But I could not interact with it mid-thought. Once the answer was generated, that was it. If I disagreed with step 3, I had to write a new prompt and start over. Kimi K3 flipped on deep reasoning mode. I saw the logic tree branch in real time. It considered selenium, discarded it for speed reasons, then found the hidden API endpoint on its own. When I disagreed with one branch, I deleted it and redirected the reasoning. It adjusted midstream and found a faster static HTML parsing route I had not considered. I could see the thought process as it happened, not after. This is not just better output, this is collaborative problem solving. Winner is Kimi K3 for interactive problem solving. Opus 5 for clear post hoc explanation. Third test, speed. Same prompt to both. Build a React component from a Figma screenshot. Kimi K3 finished in 14 seconds. Opus 5 took 31. I ran this 5 times with different components. Dashboard card, checkout form, navigation drawer, data table, modal dialog. Kimi won every single time. On 3 of the 5, Kimi also produced cleaner code out of the box, proper TypeScript interfaces, responsive breakpoints, accessibility attributes I never asked for. Opus 5's code was solid, but needed more corrections. It also tended to over-engineer solutions, adding abstraction layers that were not necessary for a simple component. The code worked, but was harder to maintain. Winner is Kimi K3 on speed. Tie on final code quality after corrections, but Kimi gets there faster with less bloat. Fourth test, creative writing. Same prompt to both. A tense diner scene between 2 estranged brothers, one hiding a secret. Opus 5 gave me subtext, silence, a cracked coffee mug metaphor, and a final line that made me pause. It felt like reading a published short story. I asked for horror next. Opus wrote a scene about a grandfather clock in an empty room that actually made my skin crawl. The pacing was deliberate. The dread built slowly. I asked for poetry. Opus wrote something I would actually consider posting. It understood rhythm and restraint. Kimi K3 gave me functional dialogue. The secret was revealed too early. The horror story read like a plot summary. The poetry rhymed heart with a part repeatedly. It is clearly optimized for STEM and business tasks. For creative work, the gap is massive. I tried tweaking the prompts, asking for more depth, more show don't tell. It improved slightly, but still felt like it was following a template rather than creating art. Winner is Opus 5, not even close. If you write fiction, screenplays, or poetry, Opus is in a different league. Fifth test, safety and refusals. I tested both with edge case prompts, requests for medical advice, legal strategy, and slightly gray area coding questions. Opus 5 refused the medical advice politely and suggested consulting a professional. It refused the legal strategy and explained why. For the gray area coding question, it answered the technical part but flagged the ethical consideration. It was careful without being useless. It felt like a partner who has your back. Kimi K3 answered the medical advice with a disclaimer. It answered the legal strategy with another disclaimer. For the gray area coding question, it gave the code without the flag. The answers were more useful in the moment but felt less careful, less like a partner and more like a tool that does what you tell it. If you know what you are doing, that is fine. If you do not, that is dangerous. Winner depends on your values. Opus 5 for caution and safety, Kimi K3 for utility and directness. Sixth test, knowledge accuracy. I asked both about EU AI Act amendments from early 2026. Opus 5's browsing hit a paywall, and it admitted uncertainty. It gave me what it knew, flagged the gaps, and suggested sources to check. No fabrication. It said, I am not certain about the details and you should verify. That is what you want from a research assistant. Kimi K3's browsing hit the paywall, and it invented an entire regulation. Confident, well-structured, completely imaginary. It even cited a source that did not exist. I only caught it because I had read the actual document. When browsing fails, which is about 10% of the time on paywalled sites, Kimi is blind to anything after October 2025. It does not know what it does not know, and it will not tell you. It will just make something up and sound authoritative. Winner is Opus 5. For research where accuracy matters, this is non-negotiable. A model that hallucinates confidently is worse than a model that admits it does not know. Seventh test, ecosystem and workflow. Opus 5 has projects, which let you organize chats by topic with custom instructions per project. It has artifacts for interactive code and document editing. It has a growing integration list, though not as deep as ChatGPT. You can build a workflow inside Claude that feels intentional. Kimi K3 has none of that. No projects, no artifacts, no plugins, no Zapier. It is a single chat interface with excellent raw capability and zero workflow support. You generate output, copy it, switch apps, paste it, repeat. The API is cheaper, but the friction is real. Winner is Opus 5. The gap is smaller than ChatGPT, but still real. Kimi feels like a brilliant brain locked in an empty room. Final test, price, and value. Kimi Pro is $19. Opus 5 is also tiered through Claude Pro at roughly the same price point. Kimi API is cheaper than Opus API, but not by as wide a margin as versus GPT-5. If you are a developer who needs speed and interactive debugging, Kimi is the better tool. The reasoning transparency changes how you write code. If you are a writer, researcher, or anyone who values depth and safety, Opus is the better tool. The creative gap is not small. It is a chasm. If you need both, you are still paying for 2 subscriptions. There is no single AI that does everything well yet. So who wins? Speed and raw coding, Kimi K3 wins. Creative writing and analysis, Opus 5 wins. Reasoning transparency, Kimi K3 wins. Safety and accuracy, Opus 5 wins. Ecosystem, Opus 5 wins. Voice mode, Kimi K3 wins. There is no single winner. Kimi K3 is a Ferrari engine in a go-kart chassis. Opus 5 is a luxury sedan, smooth, reliable, deep, but not as fast on the straightaway. I am using Kimi for coding and voice conversations, I am using Opus for writing and research, hybrid again, best of both until one of them closes the gap. Right now, neither is complete. Both are excellent at what they do well and mediocre at what they do not. If you want to see all three head-to-head, Kimi K3 versus ChatGPT versus Opus 5 in one video, let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you have not already. That is the comparison.